was interesting.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Well, there's a first for everything, I guess. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the Morning Brunch. I'm Sheridan Hertig.
And I'm Nathan Kitchens.
And here's what's on the menu for today's brunch. First, we're taking a look at the weather. Then we're going to introduce you to today's pet of the week.
And we'll close things out with a look at the weather in your last bite.
Oh, see, you know.
Our producer's trying to.
This is how the day is going.
It is.
We're so close to the weekend.
We're
already in weekend mode, apparently. What I was going to say is we'll show you what stories are on our plates. And then Nathan was going to say, we'll also show you the weather.
Yeah, we
and
gotta save the best for last.
Yeah, exactly. It was gonna be like a one and done. Like, look at that. But all right. Anyways, that's how the start of the morning brunch is going. On my plate today, a health story for you. Being a night owl could be bad for your heart, apparently. A study in the UK found that middle-aged and older adults who are more active in the evenings tended to have worse cardiovascular health than those who are more active in the daytime. Night owls and healthy behavior, like poor diet, insufficient sleep, and smoking may be the reason for the disparity. I think another thing is when you stay up late, now this is touched on in that story, but when you stay up late, it makes it so much easier to eat. You know, if you have dinner at 5 or 6 o'clock, you stay up later and you're going to, of course, get hungry because you get bored, and a lot of people fill their boredom with eating. And so I can understand why being a night owl can be unhealthy, and or instead of working out, people end up just laying in bed, watching TV. I get it. You got home from work and the last thing you want to do is move or cook. So you want to get takeout or whatever it is. So I see nothing wrong with staying up late. I think as long as you are finding a healthy way to stay up late, whether that be going to work out late at night, or instead of having snacks, maybe have a fruit or a vegetable. Just finding healthier ways to incorporate that into your lifestyle instead of, you know, munching on some chips or watching TV and just rotting in your bed. It's easy to do that, I get it, but just finding healthy alternatives instead.
Yeah, I used to watch the late night shows when I was in college. I would stay up really late, usually like 2 or 3 in the morning, doing studying, burning the midnight oil, getting ready for tests, and I was always munching on snacks all evening, all night long. Usually hot Cheetos, but
always surprised.
It would be popcorn sometimes, and just other things. You just kind of feel that boredom. You're up for so many hours, and you're trying to concentrate, so you think, oh, I'm going to keep eating that way. It'll keep me energized and focused. But I mean, it would be the snacks, and I would even do some energy drinks sometimes. Really unhealthy, and I was at a point where I felt like I was never going to gain weight, but I did start gaining some weight, and it was like, okay, I probably need to back off a little bit. Moderation is key. But yeah, I feel like I was definitely not very healthy during that time. I definitely don't think I felt my best. I think once I got into my career and started eating better and cutting back on the pop, I noticed a difference in how I felt. So it's definitely important that moderation is key. Not feeling the boredom, like you said, with food all the time.
Yeah, once you fall into healthier habits, you'll be just a healthier person. Like, you get rid of the snacking at night, or like I said, you get into eating fruits and vegetables instead. You swap things out, and it's just going to be better for you overall. So try and make those unhealthy habits healthy ones.
Absolutely. Well, on my plate today, yesterday actually marked 40 years since the Challenger disaster, and staff at the Challenger Learning Center in Normal are looking back at the tragic events that gave them their mission. So 40 years ago yesterday, 7 lives were lost as America watched the Challenger space shuttle explode just 73 seconds after launch. And since then, the families of those who lost their lives have started the Challenger Center as a national organization. And there are more than 30 different centers across the country, and one of them is in Central Illinois at Heartland Community College. The mission was to create hands-on STEM experiences to help promote creativity, courage, and to keep the legacy of the Lost 7 alive. The Challenger Center visited by around 5,000 students each and every year. This story stuck out to me because I was always very fascinated by space missions as a kid growing up. I remember watching a lot of documentaries on the Challenger explosion and just watching the excitement of that morning as they lifted off, and everything was so great and the crowd was cheering. There were so many people so excited, and then it goes from instant, you know, cheering and just so much joy and like this is actually happening to all of a sudden like you can't believe what's happening before your eyes, and seeing this thing explode way up in the air and hoping that it wasn't what they thought it was, but realizing that this thing just exploded and yeah, there's no way we can get them back. So that was just really, just really scary to think about. I can't imagine being there in person in Cape Canaveral, Florida that day, watching it all unfold. But, I remember back when I was a kid, I think it was in 2003, the Columbia space mission, when it was coming back into the Earth's atmosphere, it exploded upon the re-entry. And of course, all 7 on board were killed. And I remember watching that as a kid because I was very fascinated by space, and it just stuck out to me. It's interesting because you look back at the horrible, tragic event like the Challenger explosion, and the NASA engineers were really trying to insist on them that the weather was unusually cold and that could affect the way the O-rings work. They said there is still a design flaw in the way the O-rings were made back in that time, and that the cold weather could cause a disaster to happen. And unfortunately, they did not heed on that advice, and they went ahead with the mission, and unfortunately, the lives were lost. So that's just a scary day. I know my mom, she was a teacher, and at the time, her class was watching this all on TV and watching it all unfold, and as it exploded, and just what was going to be such an amazing time to see these astronauts going into outer space turn into such a horrible, tragic event just right before our eyes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I could not imagine having to go through something like that. I feel like that would be really, really difficult for a family member of somebody who's an astronaut or looking to get into space. That would be really difficult to encounter. Obviously, losing any loved one is very difficult.
Yeah.
I actually just read 2 very space-centric books. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is about a woman who gets into NASA, and she ends up going up into a spaceship and making it up into space. And she talks about her experience and then how she has a group of friends who ended up getting into NASA at the same time as her. And they have a very different experience going into space. I highly recommend reading it, but their experience is tragic. It's really hard to read about or even listen to, despite it being fiction, because a lot of it is based on a lot of truth. Women finally, being able to become astronauts and get into the STEM field and whatnot. So it was just really interesting to read about. And then the other one was completely fiction, and it had like aliens in it and stuff.
Oh, that's fun though. It have some fun.
It was really cool. Project Hail Mary. It's actually coming out as a movie in a few months. But either way, just listening to the hard work that goes into having to get up into space, and then knowing that you may be giving your life to science as a repercussion of wanting to dedicate your life to learning more about what Earth is surrounded by is insane. I mean, it's very, very cool, and you have to be insanely smart and study around the clock. But to give your life to a cause that is so near and dear to you, I mean, like, good for them for caring and having so much passion, but definitely devastating. So it's nice that we at least get to share stories like this and keep the 7, their memory alive.
Yes, very important. The courage that they had to take this risk, and unfortunately it did not end the way that they obviously planned, but yeah, it's a day that people will never forget for sure.
Absolutely. So if you guys want to learn more about it, obviously you can go to Heartland Community College and see the museum that they have there. But we do, to completely switch gears here, we have our Pet of the Week that's coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere, and you can see who's available for adoption.
Hello everyone, I have Kitty Yanko here with me from the Peoria Humane Society. We have a little orange boy with us today.
We do. This is Elias. I think he's about 3 years old. Don't know a lot about his story.
And he's not very big.
He's not. He's on the smaller side, and he almost looks like he's got growing to do, but I think he's fully grown, and he's in the cat room at PCAPS. Everybody loves him. He's really sweet. As a matter of fact, he's purring up a storm right now.
Orange cats have a very special personality.
They really do.
Yeah.
You cannot go wrong with an orange cat. They're usually male, they're usually wonderful, and that's his personality as well.
Also, I love, he's got that beautiful orange tabby coat, the striped coat, and then he has yellowy orange eyes. Very pretty.
Yeah, it goes with his color for sure.
So he is on the smaller side. but there's no telling. Maybe he gets into a forever home and he does a little bit of growing. He fills out just a little.
Yeah,
A little love can go a long way.
for sure. But I tell you what, his personality is exceptional, and I think he deserves to be in a home soon.
And it's been pretty cold outside lately.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the people and animals that are outside in this terrible weather. So, again, always remember, keep pets indoors, provide shelter, make sure they stay hydrated, keep them off of things that, could be tough on their paws.
What would you suggest to someone who maybe sees an animal out running around? What would you suggest they do to help that animal out?
Well, if they're, not sure where it belongs and they're worried about its condition or its safety, they can always call PCAPS if it's Perry County. Otherwise, outside of Perry County, you can call whatever county you live in, police department, whatever. But, the goal is to try to, make sure that they have a home or they're being cared for, so they're not out there because, obviously this extreme cold can cause frostbite pretty quickly.
And if you are comfortable trying to bring the animal in just for a temporary situation, that is an option, but you guys always advocate safety first.
For sure. And, a lot of animals, when they're out running around, they're scared and they're going to run from you. It's difficult to capture a cat. They don't always want to be picked up. And if they do, they may scratch or bite. So you just never know. Same thing with dogs. I know a lot of people, want to do the best and, get them into their car or get them home or get them into a carrier of sorts until they figure out where they belong. But just always be careful.
Safety first, of course. Well, if you would like to adopt this sweet boy Elias or any of the other animals, you can contact the number on your screen, 672-2440, and you can find this interview on ciproud.com.
Definitely a sweet kitty.
So cute. Orange kitties are so special.
Yes, I have one, and I can attest to that.
I had a cat named Orangey growing up. It was always the sweetest
wow.
cat. I know, such creative names.
Yeah.
Such a cute cat. Oh.
Yeah, highly recommend adopting at PCAPS. But 24-hour rule here. Apparently, you should have a statute of limitations of gripes with your partner. A new relationship trend is making its rounds on social media. It's called the 24-hour rule. Basically, you have one day to bring up something that upsets you or forever hold your peace. People say it's a helpful strategy that stops long fights and could save a spiraling relationship. Therapists say this isn't a one-size-fits-all rule, but they do say it can stop resentment from quietly festering. Though one therapist said if you force a conversation after a long day just to make the 24-hour mark, you might not get anything positive out of it. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that's kind of smart. Even in arguments with my husband, if I have them, one of us will bring up, oh, well, I did this last month or this happened last month.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, there's nothing you could do about it. Stop bringing it up. Let's focus on the situation at hand. And so I'll say, okay, if you're bringing up anything past a few days ago, you gotta quit it. And then he'll say the same thing to me, and that'll be an argument in itself. But
I feel like this 24-hour rule can actually help save a lot of relationships instead of fighting over such petty stuff that isn't going to matter at this point.
Absolutely.
Talking about it is not going to. You can't change the past, right? So it's important that if you have something that's really bothering you and you feel like it needs to be addressed, please bring it up right then and now. Don't wait several days later because it's going to be too late. And it might just cause your relationship to kind of, might get in some arguments and might not be very pretty. So
yeah, I also, not that I never did this, but I've heard of other couples doing this is, the man or the woman will wait 3 or 4 days, do a silent treatment kind of thing, and just expect their partner to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah,
and it's
do silent treatment. You're begging for attention and hoping that eventually you'll get what you want.
Well, it's also a relationship isn't a game.
It's not.
Let's take it seriously. Let's be adults. Let's talk it out.
It's something that the high school me or
right.
people would do, but you're
maybe
adult,
then it was okay.
You're married, then it's a little different.
Exactly.
Well, over on social media, a woman was asking for advice about a situation with her boyfriend. She posted, "My boyfriend and I celebrated our 6-month anniversary a few weeks ago. I got him a t-shirt with his favorite band on it and cooked him his favorite dinner. He got me a gift card." She said the gift card was for her favorite store, but her friends are telling her it's a red flag. So what do you think, or what do we think?
When it comes to relationships, I think that there needs to be thought in presence. 6 months, do I think that there needs to be a whole anniversary thing, not necessarily.
Well, that's a little bit silly, I think.
Yeah, but while I wouldn't necessarily be mad because great, you got me something, you got me a gift card so I can spend money at a place that I enjoy, that's nice. At the
Yeah.
same time, I would hope that my significant other would put more thought into presents for me because they're supposed to know you best, right?
At least give you some flowers to show that you really care.
Right.
Yeah, I would feel like, you know, that maybe he doesn't see the relationship going further. Maybe it's just like a nice friendship or something, and maybe he's just not taking it serious and has no long-term plans, you know. That would be maybe a little bit concerning to me. But
Yeah, I'd rather have like a DIY present that you put thought into, that it took you a while to make. Like, it's not about money, and I feel like that's making it about money.
yeah,
So, I don't know.
I agree.
Anyways, you may want to avoid the water cooler talk at work. Apparently, the water dispensers or coolers in the office are very dirty. Ew. Results of a study published in AIMS Microbiology say they can often have higher bacteria levels than the water going into them. Some of the pathogens found can impact people with compromised immune systems and lead to pneumonia or blood or urinary infections. Geez, researchers say their findings challenge the assumption that filtered water from such dispensers are safer or healthier. We heard the same thing about flights too, is that airline water, you should never have airline water because apparently it is extremely germ-centric.
Okay, I've had airline water before. I thought it was pretty good, but
Unless they pour it from like a water bottle,
sure.
probably best to avoid
and our
it.
water here at work's always good.
Yeah, I bring my own water bottles. But that's because I'm also very, very picky on the taste of water.
Sure.
If you say
It
that
all
there's
tastes
no
different.
taste to water, you're wrong. There is a taste to water. But yeah, I don't really
There is.
like our work water.
Sure. I mean, growing up, we had like well water and it had a bunch of minerals in it. Sometimes it would have like a lot of sulfur and it would smell like, you know, kind of like sewage a little bit. And eggs, I guess they're
Yes, it's always the
rotten egg
eggs.
smell.
Ugh.
Yeah, it wasn't always so great. So I could not drink from like the tap at home. We always had to use bottled water. But here at work, it's actually pretty good filtered water that we have. So
Maybe I'm just picky when it comes to my water.
I don't know.
Give me some Voss. No, just kidding. Oh, this is your story. Go
All
ahead.
right. Well, some hotels are getting rid of things that we might take for granted. You may have noticed some hotels are getting rid of closets and bathtubs. Others are ditching bathroom doors. They're using curtains or sliding barn doors, and some just have a wall separating the areas. And this is all to save money. Experts say mid-price hotels work on thin margins. So this is a cost-cutting effort that will save you too, as there are several hotel groups that say a majority of their bathrooms have sliding doors, and even if guests don't like it, they don't plan to change them anytime soon.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of sliding doors in hotels. I don't mind it because usually if I'm staying at a hotel, I'm staying with either my mom or my husband or maybe my best friend.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. But I can understand why people might not like it. It feels like kind of a privacy issue.
Definitely a privacy issue. I would not like that. I don't think I've ever been in a hotel with this.
They do
sliding door.
lock. They
They
still
do
lock.
lock. Okay.
But
Yeah, all the ones I've been to have the actual door to you shut. You know, so.
yeah, I think more of the hotels that people enjoy going to have doors. Like,
Probably. The ones that are in my price range, so.
exactly. All right. Well, apparently what you eat first on your dinner plate can impact your blood sugar and energy levels. Dietitians now recommend that you eat your vegetables first, then protein and fat before digging into starches and sweets. They say it lessens the blood sugar spike that can happen if you eat bread first and can lead to more stable energy throughout the day. That's because vegetables and protein slow digestion and slow the rate at which carbs are absorbed. It's important to note that studies on the long-term impact on blood sugar levels are limited and show mixed results. Interesting. I feel like I'm the kind of person who 9 out of 10 times I will eat a section at a time on my
Yeah.
plate. Like I'll eat my vegetables and then I'll eat my entree and then I'll eat, I don't know, if there's like mashed potatoes or something. Usually that's like the third thing, or the starch. Or I'll do the protein, vegetable, and then the starch. So I guess I'm following that. But some people want to, you know, have a few bites of a few things here and there.
Yeah, people just go back and forth.
Yeah.
I typically eat like the side dishes first. Like I will do like, if I'm going to a Mexican restaurant, get me some enchiladas, some rice, and some beans. I'm gonna usually start with the rice and the beans and then go with the entree. My dad, though, he does the desserts first. It's so odd. Like if we go to a buffet, he's getting ice cream and all these pastries and all that first before he even gets to the main meal. It's so weird, but
There's
it's just
a
the way he is.
movie, I can't remember what movie it is, but there somewhere in one of the scenes they say something along the lines of, if the world was going to end right now, at least you had your dessert first.
Okay,
So,
that's good.
Smart guy, your
is
dad.
smart.
He's
He is.
saying, I'm going to at least die happy if something happens to the world right now.
Exactly.
Just so bad. But yeah, interesting thought. I feel like people don't put that much thought into what they eat
Interesting that
first.
having an order in it could affect your health, so
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That too. All right, so I guess you guys need to pay more attention to what you're eating at dinner time, maybe at lunch as well. I don't know. Study didn't talk about that, but we have our last bite after the break, and then you'll definitely be sure to pay attention to what you're eating.
Welcome back as we come to a close. Here's your last bites, of course, starting with the joke of the day. We have kind of a space-themed joke for you. Why does the moon rock taste better than the Earth rock?
Why does the moon rock taste better than the Earth rock? Because it's up in space. I don't know.
Good guess. It's because it's a little meteor. Get it? Little meteor.
Ha ha.
It's a meteor.
That's actually pretty clever.
Actually, it's pretty cool.
Now you, as much as you're a meteorologist, you don't really talk about space. You
Yeah,
talk about
it's not, it's not the study of meteors like some people might think. Hint the name, meteorologist, but yeah, we're studying the atmosphere. As we look outside right now, it's cold. It's been a cold week, and unfortunately, that's not changing for us. We're at 12 degrees over in Bloomington. Our high today will be around 17 with mostly cloudy skies. And then for tonight, we've got 0 degrees. So if you're going to be heading out early tomorrow, it's going to be another rough morning outside with those harsh temperatures. And then for tomorrow, 16. May see a couple flurries tomorrow afternoon. And then we'll see a gradual warming trend. Next week's not so bad. We'll see lows in the teens and highs around 30.
Yeah, next week is looking fantastic in comparison to these past few days.
Hey, we'll take it.
Exactly. All right. Well, stay warm, everybody. Nathan, thank you so much. That is all the time we have this morning.
Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.